We got a good show planned today. We actually have a plan today. That's kind of nice.
See if it goes as planned.
That's nice, and that's very organized of us. We're not normally like that. It's normally fly by the seat of your pants.
Normally organized chaos.
But you know what? You got to start getting organized because bucks are starting to show up on the cameras.
They are every day.
This past couple days has been bonerific. Trail camera bonerific, if you will.
Literally. You know what?
No,
This
no
is
pun
always
intended.
we've been saying it, but this is always the time. As soon as they start to get fully grown, they just for whatever reason they start coming out of the
Full mast.
cedars.
But dude, I feel like this is a little early for us. But yeah, I mean, we got bucks working in Tennessee. We got them working in Ohio. We got a couple showing up in New York. You know what I did see though? I saw Lee Lakowski on Instagram while I was on the throne this morning, and he said it's no coincidence that we're seeing bucks right now over the past couple days. You know why? Because of the red moon.
Really?
Yeah, that's what he said.
Red moon applies all months of the year.
It's what I mean. That's what he said. And he also said that last week he was getting projects done. He was not looking for velvet bucks, and he was saying this while he was literally spotting with a spotting scope looking for velvet bucks. So I mean, and there was a lot of velvet bucks on his spotting scope. So
Well, of course there was.
take that for a grain of salt, or take it with a whole thing of salt. I don't know what you want to do, but take it.
I still don't fully understand the whole moon thing, but if it works, I don't need to understand it.
You know what's funny? It seems like the more of the Midwest, like when you get out into ag country, you get into Illinois, Iowa, Missouri, Kansas, all them boys,
They're mooners.
they're moon fanatics.
Full moon.
Full fucking moon fanatics. But when you're in the hardwoods, you're in the deep hardwoods of
The Northeast.
or Western New York. I don't know. The effect just doesn't seem to be as effective.
It doesn't, and everyone's always talking about it, especially October. They're always like, "Oh man, these next 3 days, the red moon." I don't think I've seen any increase or decrease in activity. Like I've seen no correlation. But that's just observing. I'm not saying it's not happening, but
Sometimes what they say, like on the full moon, the deer are more active, or like leading up to the full moon, and then thereafter the full moon, maybe.
yeah.
Yeah, you don't know. I don't
Yeah,
either.
but
I've never really. I mean,
never
I've
followed
looked,
it, never really.
but it's same as I mean, obviously barometric pressure. I think that plays a role, especially in or
Yeah,
around a front. Um,
that does for sure.
Obviously, the weather plays a role to a certain degree, but yeah, I don't know.
Definitely have seen, weather.
There's so many things connected to lunar that you would think it would have a pull. See what I did there? You know, but really, like you would think it would have some sort of a yank on them.
Does it affect us? Does the moon affect us?
I don't know what sequence are we in right now?
I think it's I think it's very small waxing. Wait. I
That's
want
what
to
she
say
said.
I think it's
It's a waxer.
it's a crescent, I believe.
Yeah, I woke up docile this morning. Normally I'm a little, you know.
I think it's a waning crescent. No, sorry, I think it's a waxing crescent.
What's the difference between wax and wane?
Waning is getting Like it's getting smaller.
Mm-hmm.
Waxing it's getting bigger.
Mm-hmm. That's what she said.
Wax on,
Hey
wax
sir,
off. Yeah,
hey
we're on
sir,
a
you have a you have a waxing croissant in your pantalones.
Hey, sir,
Hey sir, the deer must be moving. You have a waxing croissant in your pantalones.
would you please put away your waxing croissant?
Get to your nearest bean field. Your waxing croissant is waxing.
You know what's a sleeper is a croissant on a breakfast sandwich.
That is a sleeper. That's a very big sleeper. You know what also is a sleeper nowadays? Chipotle. Fucking sleeper.
Dude, yeah, I
It's such a
see.
bummer. What a dramatic change in business. Terrible.
I'm trying to think of an athlete that made such a fall off.
Jamarcus Russell.
Well, he didn't even get started.
Oh, in college he did.
This Chipotle is like freaking Hidu Turkaloo.
Chipotle's like
Chris Johnson, running back,
yeah, that's a good one.
like at the top for a couple years, and then all of a sudden you don't even know he exists.
Well, he's everywhere. The billboards. He's like Baker. Chipotle's like Baker.
Or
He,
McGregor,
yeah, yeah.
kind of like McGregor.
It
I'm
is
not.
actually.
I'm
McGregor is a great comparison to Chipotle because
yeah,
he's everywhere.
because
You fucking see him everywhere.
he's still everywhere,
He's
and
like,
he's still talking shit, and he's still like getting his
well,
brand out there. But what has he done really?
and the burritos fucking
And
suck.
I like McGregor. I'm not saying I think he's awesome. So I don't. I'm not
I
saying
do
he's.
too.
I'm not saying he's
Well, that's the
full of shit.
thing.
But his last couple, yeah. What is he? He's kind of done with.
You're never gonna turn your back on Chipotle. Really, you're never gonna do it. You want to do it, but you're not gonna.
And
But
it's such a roll of the dice nowadays when you
dude,
go there. I mean,
what the fuck?
it's more than a roll of the dice. Like the house always wins with Chipotle. Most of the
Th-
time, you want to crow hop your burrito into the freaking brick wall in the building.
I definitely the last experience that I just had a couple days ago there. Kelly and I went for dinner. Like we're committing a big meal to Chipotle, dude. Go in there. First of all, we don't have any fucking this. We don't have any fucking
Of
guac.
course,
We
you don't. It's
don't have
3 p.m.
any. Yeah, it's 7:30 in the evening.
You close in
Okay, you're
3 hours.
you're open for another 3 fucking hours. 3 hours. You have no chips. You got no salad dressing. You got no guac. Like, I'm sorry, but if you sell
Chicken's at a 1, and when it's done, we're not making any more.
exactly, and the dude was like, "We don't have any chicken. We got some steak over there," which over there was like the side counter where they make all the call-in shit, whatever. And he's like, "We don't have any barbacoa." I'm like, "Dude, you got carnitas, you got a couple pieces of like old chicken down there, and you got steak over there. Like, what is happening? You have 3 hours left to operate your business.
Yeah,
What is happening?"
I'll give you a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. The last half hour that you're open, but not even that much, because you're open, you should be serving well.
Not to mention, as they're making my burrito, they're pulling it through beans, chicken, sour cream. My burrito was making a wake with the fucking sour cream that was on the counter.
The making runway.
You can't even. I'm trying to hold the burrito in the foil, and
And
my
you're getting
hands are all fucked up.
yeah. Well, you can. I've actually gone into Chipotle's before. Elena and I've gone into Chipotle's before, and we see the counter, and we're like, make a
Wipe
decision.
that shit.
We're like make a decision. You can
Yeah,
tell how your burrito is going to be by the look of all the food. When it
I
looks
agree.
like Hurricane Katrina went off, and there's
Yeah.
corn all the way over by the chicken, and there's hot salsa in the freaking tortilla station, and it's literally shit is everywhere. You know, you either got to grin and bear it and just eat what they give you, or just go somewhere else. But we've literally walked out before because I'm like, this. I'm
What a
sorry,
disgrace.
this is gonna suck.
What a disgrace. What a
Have
disgrace. I
have
remember
to it,
walking into that place late high school, early college
and
with a
you
five
knew.
with a $5 bill. That was it. $5. And then they raised it to 5.25, and everyone was like, "You got to bring a fucking quarter now with your $5 bill to get this burrito." That thing was huge. That
Oh,
thing was piping hot
you couldn't
every single
every
time,
time, every time.
and it
Oh,
was made to perfection. The rollers were professional burrito rollers. That thing was the same size, the same consistency every single time. And you could take that thing completely out of the foil and you could eat it like a fucking hoagie and nothing would fall apart.
yeah.
Now I'm dropping chicken out the cracks. I got to rewrap the thing when I get home. I mean, it's just a disgrace. What a sad story.
Steve Ells is the CEO. Steve, if you can hear me, get your shit together.
Get
But
your
you
get
know
your
what though?
people on the same page.
And it does stem from that, but you buy into the franchise, so everything is kind of run on an individual level, but their quality control from the top has just gone completely to the waste. It's gone to let's sell mass burritos. And but I mean, you can tell. I know there's a lot of Chipotles around now, so it disperses the people, but there's never lines anymore. if there's
No,
if there's
no,
a
there's not.
if there's a
Maybe at
line,
lunch. Maybe at lunch.
yeah, and
If you got a good Chipotle.
if there's a line, it's because the people making stuff literally are going molasses slow, and they just
Well,
don't give a shit.
dude,
But
that's the other thing.
but
You go
there's no lines because of popularity anymore.
no, but you go in there, and this is what gets me. Before, you would have somebody putting the burrito in the thing, somebody scooping the rice, burrito press, rice, meat,
Yeah,
whatever.
not
That person, that's what they're doing. They're staying in like the same fucking 4 foot area. Then they pass it down. Then you got your toppings, salsa, whatever.
now the person that's cutting the
Cheese.
chicken makes your burrito and then checks you out.
Yeah. And
It's
while there's 3 people in the back, dude,
doing nothing,
dude,
washing dishes or something.
a couple months ago, maybe it was more, maybe it was like 6 months ago. I think it was more towards Christmas. I was at Chipotle, and dude, it was literally being run by 15 and 16-year-olds. There was nobody over the age of 18 in this place. I could promise you that. It was all high schoolers. They were running around. There was friends in and out of this place. One girl making burritos. There was 2 kids in the back on the little island counter, and they were literally making chicken sandwiches with bread. I sit with bread, and the chicken from the burrito chicken was going on rolls for these kids making sandwiches, and they're laughing. I'm like, where are we?
Yeah, what is going
What
on?
is happening? What is happening? Most disgraceful thing I've ever. I mean, just terrible. Anyway.
But if you love Chipotle like we do or did, you just gotta. This is what's really sad is there's probably 6 to 8 Chipotles that I'd be willing to drive to get it now, and there's only one of them that's I will even consider going to, because
Yeah.
it's a newer Chipotle. It's in a new developed area, and it's still hit or miss. I've gone in there and it's been a mess, but for the most part, you can roll the dice and get a good hot burrito. But the other ones, no chance. You
No
literally have
chance.
no chance. You'll get half cooked rice, so it's like you're chewing on freaking kitty litter in your
Which they,
burrito, which is ridiculous. I
and that
mean,
shit's
you
gonna
can't
expand in your stomach. I mean,
cook
it's
the
simple.
rice. Jesus.
If that rice ain't cooked, you know where it's gonna be cooking? It's gonna be cooking in your tummy, and you ain't gonna feel good in about 30 minutes.
And they're trying to skimp you on like the chicken, and it's just
Dude,
ridiculous. Some of the
it
burritos
is.
I've gotten have been like literally like chimichangas. I'm like, what am I gonna like? I'm gonna eat this
This
in
is
4 seconds.
all wrap.
Yeah,
It's all wrap.
and they do the little. They used to give you a freaking mountain of rice.
Oh, dude, I tell them every time,
Yeah,
like, dude, double scoop that rice.
I always tell them too
What
because
is
they
it?
don't
Your
charge you
rice?
for that.
Yeah. Is it your rice? Is this yours?
It's
Did you
freaking.
pay for the rice that's
It's
in this right here?
it's freaking rice. Put it on there.
But the thing is, they're preserving it. The problem is the culture.
Yeah, they don't want to make more.
Exactly. They don't want to make more. That's why 3 hours prior to closing, there's no fucking chicken left. There's no barbacoa. There's no guac. They don't want to make any more.
No, they're lazy. They don't. I mean,
The damn salad dressings, how hard could it be? How hard could it be to make a massive jug of that shit and just, you know, put it in the little containers that they have? It can't be that.
I don't even care if
You
it
could
is
never
hard.
run out of that.
I don't even care if it is hard. Do your effing job.
Yeah. Sad.
Like, remember, you used to go in there when there was only one Chipotle within 50 square miles of 50 mile radius of here. I swear, every time you'd go in there, you would see the dude with this freaking blow up pool sized bowl of rice, and he's just mixing
Oh
the
yeah, you
freaking
don't see that anymore.
cilantro and everything. You never see him mixing rice. They have it like pre-made underneath.
In the back or something. Yeah, it's got to be like Uncle Ben's rice now.
Gosh, there is they're harder to put up probably because they're everywhere. But holy shit, there's an opportunity with Chipotle if you could invest in a franchise and literally be like, this one is going to rock every time people
Yeah.
come in here. Dude, they'll all come there.
Yeah.
People will know because everyone knows how bad it is. It's terrible.
COVID might have fucked them up.
It's terrible. I don't know
But
I don't know what fucked them up, but they're fucked up.
there's I don't know what fucked them up, but I can tell you one thing. They're fucked up.
They are.
Well, that was good. That little burrito rant for the kickoff.
Pisses me off because Chipotle was not to keep going back into it, but there was a point in my life where Chipotle was I could eat it 3 to 4 times a week and love it every time
Yeah.
and want
And
another one.
get the same damn thing every time too.
Same damn thing. So good. So good. I'm trying to remember. I may have had it twice in a day before. But good God.
Good God is right. Well, we're back with another episode of Goose Chasing, brought to you by TAGNBRAG and TAGNBRAG Productions. We are also brought to you by TAGNBRAG Apparel. Check out our latest apparel. We got some hoodies up on the website. And TAGNBRAG Land Management, if you want to get on the books, hit us up via email off of our website, tagnbrag.co, and we'll get you on the books for next year. We got some spicy things in the pipeline. I also want to send a shout out to our boy Kyle McCullough. I call him Kyle Savage because he is a savage. He sent us some new apparel from his apparel company called The Simple Life. Y'all check that out as well. SimpleLife.com. Just all about living the dream. Simple life. That's all we want to do is pretty much go hunt, eat, kiss, and sleep good every once in a while, I think. But anyway, yeah, we got bucks on camera. It's exciting. This past couple days has been exciting. Exciting.
Yes, they're definitely popping up. I haven't seen any warthogs yet, as we like to call them. But
Definitely.
no, there's some nice deer popping up in New York. They're just coming up. We're trying to figure out who some of them are.
Yep.
And
Always.
some of them may be new or they're just young, so you can't recognize them. But it's insane to me how good, how strong our genetics are. I don't know if it's just our immediate area, if it's like our county in New York. Our genetics are so good up there.
Yeah, you
And
get some young deer that are just like, whoa.
they're all 10 points, at least most of them are. So many 10-point genetics.
A lot of tall brows.
A lot of tall brows and a lot of extra points. I mean,
Yeah. Well,
we've had bucks pop up last night. Don't know who they are, but extra points coming off of G2, G3. It's just and you can tell they're not old. They're not old deer. So it,
it's your beans, bro.
but it's
Dean's beans. You guys
it's
want land consultation? This is the spot. You hear it. 10-point
definitely
genetics.
the nutrition is definitely the nutrition. The lack of well, we're trying to help them with we're trying to make life less stressful for them.
It's definitely not that stressful for them up there anymore.
Honestly, and even with the tough winters, which seem to be getting less harsh, although I say that and we'll have a doozy of one, but it just seems like out of the last 10 years, there's, I don't know, we still get a deep freeze for a month or two. But yeah, I don't know. We just haven't had the crazy snows, but yeah, well, we got some good deer. It's just if people could be not people, if they could just live an extra year or two, they really, if they could get to 4 or 5 years old, which is very rare up there, um, it's they express serious potential. No, people don't even understand. I mean, it's they get to 2 years old and you're chomping at the bit, and then you're like, okay, we got to let them go one more year, and that's only 3.5. They're not old yet. They're not old yet.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and it's funny that like, a handful of years ago we were just like just and this is our camp. We're stressing to Dad and Uncle Jay and anybody that hunts, even, the neighbors around us, the ones that are willing to participate. It's like just let the 2.5ers go, just
Yeah.
let them get to 3.5, let them start to express what they can express. And now it's like the 3.5ers are off limits. And that may sound like a little juvenile to, you know, the gurus out there, or whatever, but it's like you gotta everything's a process. You're not
Yeah.
this isn't like a blink of an eye thing where it's like, oh yeah, I just want to have 4 or 5, 6 year old bucks roaming my property all the time. This is a generational thing. And like that means that you have to bring it up through the generations of deer. So a lot of times, like the bucks that popped up on camera last night, a couple of them we don't recognize. I guarantee you, Dean sent me a picture at like 11:30 last night. He's like, "Is this a big deer or am I just nuts?" And I mean, he is a big frame deer. He's a little spindly, and we don't recognize him. I guarantee you, he's a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
Like, start looking at the 2-year-olds from last year, and I guarantee you, one of them will all of a sudden will be like, "Oh, that's him," because if you get a buck that all of a sudden pops up in your area and that he's pretty present, he's pretty like in that area a lot, more than likely, and you don't recognize him, more than likely, it's a 3-year-old. Just start studying his body. Is his neck still pretty thin? Is his front shoulders outweighing his ass end yet? Like you start paying attention to his body and stuff like that. And even though his rack and his frame may be big, like I would almost guarantee if you don't recognize him and he's that local of a deer, especially this time of year, he's probably a 3-year-old.
Yep.
He just blossomed into partial potential of what he's going to be, but he's expressing a lot more of what he is going to be than he did as a 2-year-old. And you're just like, oh my gosh, my
Yeah.
pants.
And the hardest thing for us was it still is because we still don't have, it's not like we have 5-year-old deer running around everywhere. You're still battling the New York, not only New York's regulations, but everyone hunting around you. So
Right.
it can only you can do everything you want on your land, but the deer don't have boundaries. They still go everywhere else. They still get shot, and everyone still hunts, their own way, which is respect that. But you can't just do what we do on our property and like, boom, you get 100% results. It doesn't happen like that. But for a couple of years, all we had was 2-year-old deer on the property. So you see the nice ones, you see the nice racked 2-year-olds, and you're like, well, I got to have a deer to hunt. So like you're chomping at the bit for one, and you realize, well, sometimes you got to take a couple of years and just let that property go, let these deer grow. And then once you start getting at least 4-year-old deer on your property, you can start targeting them. And then you stop looking at the 2 and 3-year-olds like hoping, wanting, wishing, like look mature. You
Yeah.
you stop deciding on them. You don't even really look at them. You see them and you just kind of enjoy their presence and let them go. And it changes the hunting because now you're focused on that 4-year-old and you're going to just, those 2-year-olds, at least on your property, you're going to let them walk. And
Well,
honestly, it happens with surrounding properties too, because if there's more 4-year-olds around, a lot of people are getting more selective with their hunting. They're going to start targeting those deer too. And the younger ones
well,
get let go.
and the reality is that deer now is smart enough to, you know, in all probability, survive most situations.
Yeah.
So that's obviously part of it too. But yeah, I fucking lost my train of thought there. Damn it. Damn it. I had something good to say too. Fuck. It's a bummer. Anyway, I mean, it's cool though seeing the progress up there because we've killed multiple 5-year-olds multiple years in a row now. You're starting to see more mature deer up there, and New York is still one of the top 5 states, like per square mile, with the most hunters in it
Yeah.
countrywide. So to be able to do it there, I mean, it's obviously a challenge in itself, but to be able to have success with the land management and deer management strategies that we've kind of put in place is, yeah, I mean, it's cool. It's good shit.
And we still, like, the funny thing is, I was thinking about this yesterday. The success we have is still such a small percentage of the bucks that make it. Like, there's so many 2-year-old deer that have insane genetics that get shot every year.
Oh, every year, yeah.
Every year.
Still,
Like, we're literally like, that's going to be a booner in 2 years. And they get shot. So, no one even sees that kind of stuff. So it's just
right.
it's a very small amount of nice deer that make it. And, we're able to, you're able to hunt them. But
Well, and the other thing too, like, people are seeing deer on their trail cameras right now, or like bucks of interest, or deer that they're maybe not as interested in, or they're getting frustrated because they're not getting any pictures. Like, you can't make your season plan right now.
no,
Like, you can't live and die by the pictures that you're getting right now. They can excite you. You can have a deer on camera that you're like, okay, I'd like to, hopefully he sticks around and I can hunt him a little bit this fall. But you can't make like end all be all decisions like, oh, I'm going to kill this deer. And especially you can't do that if you only get like one, maybe two pictures of him here and there. Like if he's not local right now, I got a news for you. He's probably not going to be local come October. Like you may have him passing through again, you may need to be on your toes, but he's probably not going to be just like local then either. So I don't know. Like
what do you mean
you gotta,
what do you mean if he's local, if he's not local now?
well, like if you're getting one or two pictures of him right now and you're banking on hunting that deer, I don't know.
Oh, okay. I got what you're saying.
Like even if you're getting consistent pictures of him right now, it's not indicative of that, like that he's going to
No,
be in your area.
no,
You know, Maybe if you're
Actually, a
not
good
getting
chance he's not going to be.
maybe if you're not getting pictures, it's better. But I'm just saying, I guess the like just to get a picture of a deer and be like, this is the deer I'm hunting. My season's going to be dedicated to this deer, and that's pretty much it. Like you got to just calm it down a little bit from that
Yep.
aspect. At least in my opinion, it's for me, that's burnt me out. Like focusing on one specific deer, especially this early, and actually already start getting like anxiety and worrying about where he's going to be and how you're going to hunt him. Right now, it's still July. Like that. Why are you starting to create that anxiety already? Just enjoy what you're seeing and hope that he's sticking around towards the end of September or whenever the season's starting.
Yeah, like a few of our spots here in Ohio, the deer we know we want to hunt, we have no idea where they're at the moment, and we've tried to look for them in the summertime, can't find them, but we also know there's a great chance they will be where we want them to be in October, but we're not even thinking about them right now. I just kind of wait until they show up. But to the point, there's probably a spot where those deer are on trail camera right now, and people are like getting all excited about them, and they're going to be gone because they obviously move and they come to where we hunt. And there's some deer that will get on trail camera right now that will literally be gone in October. They go somewhere else. So it's a lot of crisscrossing going on. But yeah, you can't get too stressed about everything right now. I mean, even yesterday I was down in property we hunt down in we call it Southern Ohio, but it's basically Eastern Ohio. They I was kind of getting antsy when I was down there. I'm like, man, I got to get trail cameras out down there, and I got to get them over here, and it's a big property. And then I'm like, well, you really don't, because
Yeah,
if especially if you have like a mineral or something out, you're gonna you don't need to see the deer every day. You just need to see him around. You just want to see if there's deer around.
yep.
And
And if
honestly,
you're
you could get more. You could honestly do more harm than good if you're walking around that property and you're like, man, I haven't seen anything over here. Let me go over here and see if I see anything. If you're 100 yards, 200 yards from another camera, like you can't go searching for a buck right now.
no, and I
Oh,
mean, you have to read the camera too. If you're getting photos of him 2, 3, 4 in the morning, like I'm sorry, there's a good chance that he's just not like living that close. I mean, it could be close, and he's just a buck that has the personality that he's not going to move around as much, but he's probably not like sanctioned right there. If you're getting pictures of him like in the morning, in daylight, or in the evening, right, before it gets dark, but in daylight, then you can start like thinking a little bit like, okay, this deer has to be laying
he's
somewhat close.
he's living on the property, or
Right.
he's
He's
living close.
close. Yeah. Close enough to where you can start looking at a map and being like, okay, he came from this direction. What's over here? Or he's going in this direction. What could he be going to? Like what food source is he going to, or what field is he trying to get to? Then you can start thinking about it. But you just because you get one picture at like 3:45 in the morning of a giant buck, that like to me anyway, and just this is just from experience, it means nothing. It's
No,
cool that you got the picture, but in the grand scheme of things, it really doesn't mean much.
really doesn't.
So
Take that.
so take that, ass clown.
But
How was that down there yesterday?
oh,
Down in the damn
oh
hill.
oh,
Real
it's thick.
Yeah, I bet. They
It's
took
thick.
cows off that property, so
Yeah,
the
it's making a huge difference. It's everything is super thick now because it's crazy how much there's two sides of the property. Both are fenced in for or were fenced in for cattle, and it's crazy how much thicker the property is getting without. There was only maybe a dozen cows on the 80 or 90 acres on the one main side that we hunt, and it's all those trails, cattle trails, they're all closed up.
Well, and think about it, the hillsides, they get so thick, but those cattle would just go right through everything.
Right through them. They go up and
So,
down this friggin' mountain, right through the
and
cover.
and the deer were still there at that point,
Yeah,
but now without those cattle, like
they
them deer,
cohabitated.
they got to be loving those hillsides now.
Yeah, they're not. It's just they. I don't think that. I don't think it really bothered the deer. But yeah, when you got a stampede of cows coming through the bedding area, I'm sure the deer get up and they kind of are like, oh, we don't want to be bothered by these things. Or
Right.
I don't
They're
think
not
they
gonna.
really bother each other, but they eat the same stuff
Right.
relatively.
Sure.
So um, yeah, it's just it's crazy. There's pasture up on top of this property that was literally, I mean, the grass would be 6 to 8 inches tall when we would go down there because the cows have it grazed down, and it is,
Well, and they hate it.
yeah, it's like it's a bedding area now. It's basically at your head level, the grass. Like there could be deer laying in it, and you could walk up within 10 feet of them, and they could jump up.
Yeah.
So definitely
Oh, the hill.
definitely changing the property. Literally every time we get in the truck after leaving the property, you're just like you're beating sweat and you're like, this property kicks my ass.
Yeah.
It
It
is
will. It'll
part
kick
of
your
part of
ass.
what makes us love it. I don't know, but it's it's hill country, Ohio, but it's more, I can't just, some parts of hill country are obviously the hills are massive, but they're sloping and stuff. This portion of Ohio is like, it's steep,
Deep.
unforgiving terrain.
I mean, shit, the deer that we got a couple years ago, the one that fired everybody up, that fucker, we quartered him, skinned him, quartered him, and packed him out like a damn mule deer.
Yeah, and there was no other option. I
With
mean,
two of us, there was no other option.
no, you cannot drag him. The access on the property is from the top, the very top, and it's so secluded and down below. There's no road access. There's no like brush hog trails. There's nothing like that. There's literally no option to get to the top besides, I mean, you're not dragging a deer up this hill. It's it's
No.
it's hard to walk up it.
And there's very few spots you can get a four wheeler. I mean, the one far right side you can get a four wheeler down. Remember
My
a
gosh.
couple years ago when we did Uncle Jay, Dean, and I all met down there for like 3 days before Rut Week. Well, I guess it was part of our Rut Week. My dad was out of town, I think. So instead of going up to New York right away, we were like, well, let's go get a couple days in down in Southern Ohio. And it was insane. I guess the reason I brought it up was the last day we sat all day in the pouring rain, literally all day in the pouring rain, and we were coming out on the four wheeler and we got that fucker stuck going up the hill. Remember?
Yeah,
It
and
took us like half an hour to get past that one slope. I mean, this is the three of us on a Yamaha Rhino. Like that thing shouldn't be getting stuck. This is how intense the terrain is on this property.
and
We
it's
were
not
screwed.
and it's not even like you're not even getting like stuck in like you're bottomed out. It's just
You're not going up anymore.
it's so slopey, and once it rains, it's like a heavy clay dirt down there, and when it gets wet, it's literally like a slip and slide.
Yeah,
So
it
trying to go uphill, we had to like literally take a bunch of stuff out of the Rhino to get, you kind of get up and down these benches, so you go up a steep part and then it flattens out a little bit, and then you got to go up another. It was
that
insane.
was insane. But that was a hilarious trip.
We I
That
don't
was a hilarious trip.
we decided, and part of this was for fun, that we were going to hang 3 stands in one tree and just sit it in all day.
Well, because we never really deer hunted it prior to this.
Yeah, this was like,
You and I turkey hunted it a handful of times, and we
yeah,
had obviously we shed hunted it, we scouted, we had cameras out there for a handful of years prior too, but
yeah, we
we didn't
didn't
really know what to expect. So we were like, "Fuck it, we're gonna sit all day regardless. We might as well all be sitting together."
take turns shooting.
I don't know. I think I had shot a buck in North Dakota already, and I didn't have my bow. I was just filming. But you and Uncle Jay both had bows, and we called it. Well, we hung a set of sticks, stand, go up one more level, a stand. I was in the middle. Uncle Jay was on the lower one. I was in the middle, and then you go up over one more level. And I think you were actually there was another tree that was right next to it, and we hung that tree or your stand on that tree.
Yeah.
But we were it was there was three of us right next to each other hanging out. We called it a treesome.
The TREEsome tree, it will forever be known. But this tree is massive, and
It was in a perfect spot.
number one, it was just a blast sitting there all day with the 3 of us. We were being very goofy,
We
but
had sandwiches. Yeah, it was awesome.
but the tree was like, it wasn't like ridiculously looking where you were like, you're never going to shoot a deer. Like, we had deer come right underneath us and they had no idea.
Dude, we get down there the afternoon. We kind of walked around a little bit, scouted around. We hung the treesome.
Hung and bung.
And then I think we got out of there and we just like scouted the area a little bit that evening. And then the next day we came back, packed full, bags full, cameras, sandwiches, arrows, everything we needed. And we were sitting all day. And we
Yeah.
did. And dude, we had to have seen what? I'm trying to think. We saw like literally 13 bucks that day.
Yeah, it was literally like a buck, and it was all spaced out.
It was
Like
like
a buck every hour.
it was like November 3rd or 4th. I mean, we timed it perfect. We were sitting probably like 30, 35 yards from one like main big ass scrape. And these bucks just kept coming through. And they would come from all different directions, but eventually they got to that scrape and they would check the scrape literally all day long, all day long. And there was one buck that we were getting pictures of that had like a massive 8-point side, and then on the other side he was just like a boink, like one little spike, or maybe it was a split, I can't remember, but he had a messed up rack, but he was the biggest. At least
He was the owner of the property.
yeah. we call them we call them Murphy, Birch Murphy.
Murphy Lee.
No, Murphy Lee. That's what it was,
Yeah.
Murphy Lee. We call them Murphy Lee, and that was kind of the buck that we were after, and he was pretty regular. But there was a couple other ones that were decent, that were cruising through there, that we had Uncle Jay with us. So
The cool part of this property is it's because the whole center, the main whole part of the property is it's where they come to bed.
yeah,
But you get very few pictures of deer in the dark.
so weird.
It's all daylight movement. Like,
Yep.
it's so crazy to have a property that's like that. But even right now,
It is.
you don't get dark pictures. There's no pictures in the dark. They're
It's
all
so
in
weird.
daylight.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
And when you go down to hunt this property, it hunts the exact same way. Like, there are deer moving all day. There's no like, it's slow during the middle of the day, and you got to wait till first light, last light. Like, they are in there all day. It's probably because they move out of there or whatever at night
Yeah.
and go do their thing, but it's just a hot zone all day.
I mean, it was crazy. It was like every 45 minutes you'd hear, And the first day we were out there, it was a perfect, cool, like intermittent sun, clouds, whatever. But you could hear stuff walking from miles
Oh
away, and
my gosh, it's so quiet down in there.
you're down in this valley, so it's so damn quiet down there. I mean, you could hear stuff walking on the other side. Like it was so cool to be sitting there with all three of us. Never, literally 12 hours up in the stand. Never got bored. Not even for a minute. We're telling stories. We're cutting up. We're having a great time. And you could do a little bit of that because you could hear
Them so far.
so well. And oh my gosh, it was like every half hour, 45 minutes, hour, whatever. All of a sudden, you'd hear something else, and on the other hillside,
You'd hear them for like 10 minutes, and then you'd be like, "Where are these
where
deer?"
are the deer?
And
Yeah,
then you'd finally see them, and you'd be like, "Oh my god, they're all the way over there still."
right. You give a couple grunts. We could call the couple bucks in here and there, whatever. Well, we're literally, I mean, like Dean said, it's so steep. We're literally sitting on the side of this hill. So, like off my side of the stand, which I don't know how I drew the friggin' short straw, but it literally felt like 100-foot drop off down to the creek. But off of Dean's side, or like Uncle Jay was kind of facing parallel with the hillside, but off of his left side going up the hill, you could go 20, 30 yards up the hill and you're eye level. Like, you're standing at eye level from us in the tree stand.
Yeah.
So the terrain was like just off both sides of the stand was crazy. And that was, if we ever got like picked off or pegged, it was from the hillside
Yeah.
side of it.
That's
There
the
was nothing
tough part of hunting that. I
that
mean, yeah, unless you're hunting way up on top, it's gonna happen.
dude, and it just the whole day we're sitting there, you almost knew it was going to happen because we kept seeing so many bucks. There was just deer on their feet all day long. And once again, we're 30 yards from this scrape. Most of them came at some point came within bow range.
Yeah.
So we're just we're just sitting there waiting for something to happen. We just, yeah, I mean, we felt strongly that we were going to get a shot.
And we did.
We sure did.
I don't even remember what time it was, but
It was like 4 or 4:30. It was late afternoon.
Murphy Murphy Lee decided to show himself. I think he was with a doe. He had to have been breeding her. They were just very calm
They were calm, but
above us. We didn't think they would come from above us, and they came down from above us.
and yeah, they come trickling off the hillside. Yeah, he had to have been breeding her because they were just real slow, methodical, and he was just stupid, kind of.
Yeah, he was just like in no man's land, which they probably are down there a lot. Like they don't see a lot of humans. I mean,
Right.
it's just going back to the lack of noise and stuff. You're nowhere near asphalt road,
No.
let alone yeah, you're nowhere near a highway. I mean, that just you can't hear cars, you can't hear anything besides a couple like coal mines or whatever they are. You can hear some machinery like way in the distance, but it was even down there yesterday. I was like, man, it is insane how
How quiet.
mysteriously quiet it is down here. Um, but yeah, he came down, and it again, this property is so thick on the high side of us. There were so many trees and like cover that he's coming through. Kind of, they're working their way down to us, and they get to a point.
Well,
I don't even.
the doe pegged us.
Yeah, the doe pegged us. I think
Remember, she was snorting and shit, and he
he,
didn't even.
he
He
had
didn't
no
even.
idea. He's like, I don't care what you're doing.
Yeah, you can snort all you want, honey. I'm just gonna
I think
hang
she
out.
eventually they got to a point where I mean, obviously, we just hung the stand. We're not, we didn't trim lanes and do all this stuff.
Right.
Maybe a couple broken branches we did just to clear stuff out, but he got to like 25 yards, and Uncle Jay had the bow.
Ready.
Like he was going to shoot, and like couldn't get a shot. He was just behind a whole bunch of stuff. If I remember, I gotta change the battery. If I remember correctly, the doe
Yeah.
came out into a lane.
Dude, the doe came out. She was 20 yards, and I remember like she's 20 yards, and he's like 10 or 15 yards behind her, gonna come down into the same lane, but she's literally 20 yards, and she is looking like right at us. Like she is like, there they are, there they are.
That's an awful lot of humans in one tree.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like this before. And she is stomping and she was snorting like periodically she would snort. I mean, we were still. I'm surprised that she with with how her demeanor was, I'm surprised that she was giving it as much time as she was. But I mean, that's one of the reasons why we love the vendor camo too, because you go invisible, and we weren't moving. She knew we were objects up there. She probably could see the cameras, two friggin' bows, like smell the peanut butter sandwich. I don't know, but she didn't she didn't sense the danger to the point where she was just like blow and see you later. She just
No.
didn't do it. And he
Well, and they're
was
just not used to, like, there's no hunting pressure on that
right,
property. So,
right.
yeah, she just wasn't expecting it.
Dude, he came she she went through the lane and he came down like almost nose into the lane, and I remember he just like he was just milling around like with no care in the world, and then he turned and just started walking like straight away, no
Yeah.
shot, right in the middle of the lane, but no shot, no
Yeah.
shot.
And he got to like 40 yards quick.
Very quick, and
Yeah.
then he was behind shit again, and we're like, and at this point now she's kind of taking him over the crest of the hill, like away from us, and we're like, this went on, mind you, for a solid 40 minutes
Yeah.
easily. Like we saw them up on the hill, we saw that it was a buck and a doe at first, couldn't tell what buck it was, glass and glass, and all of a sudden Dean's like it's a good buck, then Dean's like it's Murphy Lee, then we're like holy shit, like we're figuring there's no way they're coming down here because the doe had something pegged, maybe she went smelled something or whatever from up on top of the hill, but they ended up coming down.
Yep. Yeah, but they drifted up the hill. I don't even remember what the yardage was, but finally he got into an opening.
Wide open.
And it had to be 55, 60 yards.
Wide
And he
open
was
lane
just
though.
standing there, and he was kind of just milling around, but he was literally, there was nothing in the way. And mind you, he's literally above our head. Like
Yeah.
he's above us now. So, and Uncle Jay's like, he wants to shoot. You could tell. He's like,
He's like, should I shoot? Should I
should I
shoot?
shoot? Like he's calm. And he had been practicing, um, long distance. It's a big deer. And it was like, I mean, we were kind of just like, well, if you want to shoot, if you're comfortable, shoot. So yeah, he drew his bow back, and I just remember he launched that arrow, and it seemed high off the riser,
It was. It was.
and I don't know if that deer flinched,
He didn't.
and that arrow, it just sailed right over his back. And I just remember that green, I think it was a green knock, just
It was green.
shoo, freaking that loop all the way up there and just right over his back. And then they bounded like 20 yards. The deer didn't know what the hell happened.
Dude, he was standing in front of a massive, massive oak tree. Fucking huge. Like literally it was as wide as he was. It was like almost like a backstop. And literally that arrow went sailing up the hill. Boom, like a green laser, just and all of a sudden, and that thing probably hit the tree. It probably hit the tree a foot and a half over this thing's back, and he didn't even flinch. The only reason that he, I think, got spooked is because the arrow hit the tree over
Yeah,
him.
it's scared. Yeah,
Dude, that arrow center punched that oak tree. Like literally, could not have been more center of that oak tree.
did we go up there and get it?
I think we did. It might have been the next morning.
Maybe.
I can't remember. But
Yeah, because it was probably lit up all night.
oh my gosh. And that deer, he literally bounded. There was like another little like crest of the hill that he bounded over, and we could still see him like 100, 120 yards away. And he was just chilling there. and he was just like looking around, like, what happened?
What the hell
Like,
was that?
and I know Uncle Jay was beside himself, dude.
Yeah,
He
he
was
was not
like,
not happy. But that was I mean, that's a long shot, and
I think he was just not happy with how hard he missed that thing.
well, it's good if you're gonna miss hard. You know, you don't want to friggin'
Miss
skim them
clean.
or friggin' wound them somehow.
Very
But
true.
shooting uphill like that is tough. I mean, you're not used to doing that.
Well, and it's a different yard. I mean, theoretically, I think if he was gonna miss, he it should have been lower than
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. It's just crazy. Like
yeah,
he was up there. It was definitely well above our elevation.
yeah.
It was like one of those, the total
Uncle
archery challenge shoots when they're way uphill and you're like,
Uncle Jay thought he needed to aim high, and he aimed higher.
just put this
that thing,
thing, put it like a foot over his back. It's like that's exactly where you hit.
that thing went sailing, dude.
Boop.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine if we would have connected on that deer after sitting all day and 3 people in the tree and all that stuff? What a time.
He might have done one of those 20-yard loops and start crashing down the hill, and he would have just landed right by the base of the tree.
Dude, he would. I mean, there's really only one way to go but down when you're on that property.
We've
And
learned this.
thankfully, I mean, we had the rhino, so I remember we were driving the rhino down and around down into the ravine, and then we were coming back up to our spot because our spot was only like 80, 100 yards from the bottom.
Yeah, and it's
So
just
we,
so hard to access. The side of the hill is so thick.
yeah,
You can't
yeah.
just like walk down it.
Well, when you shot your buck, we were coming from the top side, and
Yeah,
we
we
were
have
coming
like a little. We're actually using an old cattle trail that they kind of carved through the
right.
thicket.
But yeah, that was fun. I mean, three people in a tree. Like, how do you beat that? I
Yeah, it
mean,
was a blast. It was fun enough where it needs to happen again.
it needs to happen again for sure. I mean, it like that's one of those things where it's like that's to me like that's what hunting is all about. You know, we could have been selfish in the regard of we're all gonna go
We got to
set up
tag. We got to
set up
tag.
yeah set up our own stands and we're all gonna just be sitting by ourselves self filming all day. And I mean,
Would have
there's a
been fun too, but
there's a certain aspect to that, yeah, that would have been fun and it would have been cool to learn a little bit more. But we were down there for 2 days and it was like, hey, if we're
but
gonna experience something, let's experience something together. And we
yeah, and
did.
if we did, that was an insane hunt. And if he would have connected, like it was a ridiculous memory, one way or the
Oh
other.
my
But
God,
like, oh, remember when we killed that buck with
we
3 of us in a
3 of us.
tree? It's just unreal. Yeah, you can't
I
beat that.
mean,
So,
well, and then the next day, literally the next day, it rained all day. We
oh,
had not only did we have all of us, all of our camera equipment, 2 bows up in the tree, but we had 2 or 3 of those tree umbrellas that were
and we
sitting
look
on top
really
of us.
ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, we literally, who knows what it looked like from the ground, but we still,
Saw some
even
deer.
still saw some deer that day, and we didn't connect on anything,
But
but
yeah,
we
we just
definitely,
got washed out a little bit. But we might have to redo the TREEsome.
yeah, we might have to figure out how we can redo that for sure. That was because that was a blast. That was a blast. We might have to do it in New York or somewhere else too,
Yeah,
just
yeah, we
for the
might.
hell of it.
Yeah,
You never know.
yeah, we might. You never know.
You never know. Never know. Never know.
You never know.
Shit, we're like a only 4 Wednesdays or so from the season. What? Hold on, let me look at this. Let me look at this. So we got today, tomorrow. What? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, six. So 6 Wednesdays. I got a little excited. 6 Wednesdays before the season starts.
Officially kicks.
Wow. Wow. I've been shooting that phase 4 is unreal.
Yeah, I'm excited to get mine set up.
Oh my God, dude, that bow is just insane. That is a smooth shooter. Dude, I was shooting yesterday I'm just getting my sight tape all figured out, whatever. So I'm guessing the yardage is at like 50 and 60 yards. Mind you, I've had to have I've had to have shot 50 arrows at this point, and I'm shooting at 60 yards. And I've got this tennis ball size orange like sticker on the target. So it's just the contrast helps me at that distance,
Yeah.
especially when you're sighting in, just like heavy contrast, but I don't want it to be like too big where my pin is floating within it. Like I want something that I need, the
Just
pin is
cover it.
going to cover that spot. And dude, I mean, it was it was insane. Like I was shooting a couple inches high first. I, you know, just bumped my sight up a little bit, came down, and I mean, if four arrows weren't like at least touching that tennis ball at 60 after all those shots, I mean, I was tired.
Yeah.
But man, it's a good feeling when your equipment is just dialed and you're confident because that's such a major thing. Like
Huge. Huge.
people don't give that enough credit. You could put your trail cameras up, you could find the deer, you could think you're in his wheelhouse and all that stuff, but when he steps out, your ability to control your heart rate and to control yourself in order to execute a good shot is everything. It's everything.
It is.
So the confidence in your equipment is everything. Is absolutely everything. Not only shooting enough to be confident in it, but like the stuff that you're shooting, the arrows, the rest, the release, your sight, how your peep sight is set up, like the size of your peep sight. All of that's like it's all part of it.
For sure.
And yeah, that confidence when you're like locked in, that confidence is fun to go in the woods with because you're just at this. It's like playing baseball, and use this reference because we grew up playing baseball. But like when you were when you were hitting the ball good, it was like just fucking throw something anywhere close to the strike zone, and I'm gonna give it a ride somewhere.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And when you're feeling that confident and locked in with your equipment, especially with your bow, you're just like, yo, fucking step out. Give me a shot. One of these lanes, just poke out into and let one rip.
Send it.
Just let me send it. It's a good feeling.
It is a good feeling. Love it. It's the ultimate. That's the ultimate one. You gotta have that confidence.
I can't wait.
Gotta have that confidence.
I can't wait. I really can't. I'm so excited for the season. I don't know. It seems like every year it just gets a little more and more. We're focused on different things, so you're not obsessing about like the little minor details that you don't really need to obsess about. But yeah, the drive is just
The fire never blows out. Sometimes, arguably,
chase,
gets worse.
man. Chase.
Arguably, it gets worse.
It does. It does. It sure does. It sure does. It sure does. What else? What do you got going on the rest of the week?
A lot of work, and I got to start prepping the fall food plots.
Shit, yeah.
Got our work cut out for us here in the next week because it's just going to be all rain dependent, and yeah, we have a lot of little plots to put in. So
Well, and I'll be up in literally a week from today. I think I'm going to be leaving on Wednesday afternoon to just try and get up there. So we got the time, but that'll be cool. Get up to camp.
hell yeah,
Get some stands set. Get whatever else of the food plots done. Hopefully, just get it into a good. Get the property to like a good manageable area where you're
Yeah.
like pull the fences and cut some paths here and there and
let's go
LFG baby.
LFG.
That'll
Yeah,
be
for
good.
sure.
Bring the podcast shit up. Record a cast in camp.
Yeah.
with Nipsey in the background, Neil,
Oh yeah.
Godfather, Svenny,
Oh
Bucks in
yeah.
the kitchen,
Oh
Bucks
yeah.
in the kitchen.
Gotta make that one happen.
Gonna make it happen. Wow. Well, that was good.
Good combos.
Murphy Lee, Chipotle sucks. Sling some arrows. Oh shit. That was good stuff. That was good stuff. Yeah, I got a bunch of editing to do so I can get caught up for next week, so that we got some time to focus on the land and
Check some stuff off the list.
check it, make a list, check it twice, get your shit done, and get on out. Get in and get out.
Mm-hmm. You got it.
By the way, did you find any of that North Dakota stuff I was asking you about?
Nope.
Footage.
To be honest, I didn't look. Forgot about it.
Well, here's your healthy reminder, you son of a bitch.
I will look
Son of a bitch.
post podcast.
Post podcast look. All right, y'all. Well, thanks
been
for
real.
joining again this week. We hope you guys are getting ready for the season, having a good time shooting your bow, just getting tuned up and dialed in. That confidence. Get it. Get it for yourself. Get it for your loins. Get it for the loins. My goodness.
The loins.
And as always, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscribe to us on Spotify. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. And yeah, we'll see you right back here next Wednesday. Hump Day, baby.
Let's go. Looking forward to it.
It'll be 1 week closer to the season. Yeah.
Let's go.
LFG, y'all have a fantastic weekend. And hey, get out there and goose chase something.
Goose chasing. We love you.
See ya.